Since you finished Heated Rivalry, have you been feeling lost? Have your friends sat you down to give you an intervention? Because you're just not the same anymore. With how crazy everyone is going over Heated Rivalry, it's no surprise that I've been hearing people talk about watching the show over and over and over again, which is great. I mean, I love it. I watched it twice, but with a show that's only 6 episodes long, you're going to run out pretty quick. So while we're all waiting for our invitation to the cottage for season 2, I wanted to offer some suggestions to anyone who is interested in watching some more shows like this, but doesn't really know where to start. I understand that there's a ton of people who watched Heated Rivalry who don't normally engage with this sort of content. So I just kind of thought I'd make a list of some of my favorite TV shows and movies that I think are similar enough to Heated Rivalry that I do think a majority of people who watched one and enjoyed one would like the other. So here's my list. Red, White, and Royal Blue is by far the easiest suggestion to make. Not because it's my favorite thing on this list, but I do think it's the most similar to Heated Rivalry. This movie has a fun but pretty ridiculous premise in the sense that it is the son of the President of the United States and the son of the British Crown coming to meet each other. And it is super cheesy and at times a bit lame, but honestly has a lot of heart and is very fun and at times funny. The two main characters are super hot. It's like a good, enjoyable time. And if you liked Heated Rivalry, especially if you liked kind of the arc and the direction that these characters took, it's not too dissimilar from this. It's based off of a very popular book that got made into a movie, not a TV show, but you've kind of got the enemies to lovers arc. Overall, I think it's a fun watch. I think it's worth seeing. I don't want to go into too much detail about this one because it's a movie, but and you're looking for something else to watch, this is definitely a good thing to start on. And before I get to the rest of this list, I just want to say that I think if most gay people saw this list, they would be like, this is the most basic, generic list of all time. And I totally get that. And also, I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of people who are just coming to this for the first time. And in my mind, these are some of the best things that have come out. Call the list basic if you want. I think it's a good one. And I'm very excited to talk about this next show. Young Royals. What can I not say about this show? This is my personal favorite show on this entire list. If you've never given this show a chance, there's something about the title or whatever that didn't grab you, I totally understand. I was in the very similar boat. It was only a couple of years ago when I was actually on a date that someone suggested that we watched it. And I literally, just to be nice, said yes. And I think the reason I thought that about Young Royals is because it primarily follows the son of the Swedish Crown Prince. He gets himself into some trouble, and his mom, who is the queen, sends him to a boarding school. Young Royals is very, very well written and acted. The story is probably more serious and realistic than anything else on this list. The romance that is involved is a really beautiful story. It is so touching. It is well worth the ride. I mean, I absolutely love it. If you're in it for the romance, the show's got you covered. No question about it. It just kind of goes about it very differently. So that is one pretty major difference that I would say between the two shows. It just has a different vibe, but the vibe is impeccable. I will say that because it's a Swedish show, they do speak another language. So what I will suggest for any English speakers out there, I really suggest just watching it. If you need to, I know there is an English dubbed version and I'm sure that it's good. Just personally, I prefer to hear the real actors, real voices. But if you're someone who's very anti-subtitle, there is an English dub and you can watch the show that way. It is very well paced and there are incredible character arcs. It's only 3 seasons long and I think each season is 6 episodes. So it's really not a super long time commitment. Nothing on this list is. It's excellent all the way through. I don't want to spoil anything, but if you were worried about it being too much of a kids show, I implore you to give this show a chance. It is so much better than you ever think that it could be. This is probably the one show on the list that I recommend everyone at least give a chance. It's probably the one that is most different from Heated Rivalry, so I think it is the biggest potential for maybe alienating that fan base, but The story that is told in Pose is so amazing and so beautiful. It takes place in New York, I believe in the late 80s, early 90s sort of time frame. So kind of during the AIDS epidemic, very much ballroom culture. If you've ever heard of or watched Paris is Burning, it's sort of that era, that time, that vibe, but put into a fictional TV world. This is a show that is so incredible. I really want to rewatch it and do a much deeper dive. I will probably end up doing a full episode on Pose alone once it's more fresh in my memory. It's been several years since I've watched it. I think that there are moments in season 2 and 3 that I didn't quite land for me. But here's what I will say about it. I have watched the pilot episode with many friends before, and I think it's one of the best TV show pilots of any show, period. I think you're really going to get a feel for everything that makes the show so special. If you just turn it on and you watch the first 10 minutes, you are not giving the show the chance that it deserves. Watch the full first episode. You really see the heart and the characters and kind of the core group of people that you're going to be following throughout the show start to materialize a bit towards the end of that first episode. And if you don't like anything about it by the end of the first episode, then it's probably not going to be the show for you. But I just think it is such an unbelievably important show. It highlights these characters and that don't really get to have this type of show very often. This representation isn't seen a lot, even within queer media, and it's just super important that these stories are shared. And there is so much joy and beauty in this show that I have to recommend it to everyone, even though I know it might not be everyone's cup of tea. Some of my favorite characters of any TV show ever are in this show, and I really can't recommend it enough. Pose is on FX, and I believe that means Hulu as well. Okay, the next show on my list of suggestions is Love, Victor. So there was a movie that came out like a decade ago now called Love, Simon, which got quite a bit of hate in the gay community. I personally also did not like the movie very much, for what it's worth. It is seen, just so you understand that criticism, it is sort of seen as a movie about gay people for straight people to feel good. I didn't hate the movie, but I had zero interest in watching anything else by the same creators or set in the same universe. And an ex-boyfriend of mine, he had watched Love, Victor, and he was like, I really think you should watch it. I really think that you'll like it. And the very first part of the very first episode of the show is basically the main character in this TV series, Victor, messaging Simon, the character from the movie, and almost like giving a bad review of the movie. He's sort of just like, screw you for having this perfect life and this perfect family and this perfect coming out story and blah, 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 blah. It's basically the sentiment that a lot of queer people had in watching Love, Simon. We got to see the main character of this show say, like right in the opening, my ears definitely perked up. And then as the episodes went on, I mean, it is a high school show set in the US. You know, you have these friends. It's about parties and meeting friends and having classes and first girlfriends. And it can seem a bit cheesy in that way at times. But I will give this show a lot of credit. It is actually very well written pretty much throughout. I mean, I personally really enjoy it. I don't really watch a lot of content online surrounding it, so I don't know, maybe people hate Love, Victor as well. I personally loved it. And in certain ways, the show, it's very much surrounds Victor and his family who just moved from Texas to this richer suburb. But what I really like about the show is it doesn't center completely on Victor. You really get to know a good handful of his friends. I think a lot of the characters in the show are very lovable and well written, and even when you don't think you're going to click with a character very much, they usually do end up sort of coming around towards the end. I personally don't love season 3 of Love, Victor. I will say that I think season 1 is insanely good, season 2 is incredible, and then season 3 kind of drops off a little bit for me personally. But there are only 3 seasons. Season 3 is the shortest one. It's, again, not a huge time commitment, and I think for young adults especially, like, there's so much in this show that it's well worth giving it a shot and just seeing what you think. But if you were turned off from ever giving this show a chance because you didn't like the movie, what I will say is neither did I, and I kind of loved the show. So give it a shot. You never know. All right, here's my only other movie recommendation as it pertains to Heated Rivalry, because again, it's sort of that dynamic that's in Heated Rivalry that I'm sort of trying to think about. I'm trying to think of the types of people who are watching the show and liking it and what they would like. Call Me by Your Name is like a quintessential everyone has seen it sort of movie. My guess is that if you're watching this, you have too. If by some chance you haven't, I would say it is well worth watching. This movie is a bit more artsy and a bit of a slow burn, but it also is far more sexual than any of the other shows or movies that I've talked about previously. It is similar to Heated Rivalry in a way that like the romance that is building through this movie is very sexually charged. I have thoughts about this movie that are probably best reserved for their own video, and that largely revolves around the casting. But Timothée Chalamet is in this. He does an incredible job, and I think the acting throughout the movie is really great. And so if you think you have any interest in seeing a younger Timothée Chalamet fall in love in like a seaside Italian town with like very romantic bike riding scenes and just old villas, and you will love this movie. Watch it as soon as possible. The show Elite, it kind of follows this group of students in this like elite Spanish preparatory school. And similar to Young Royals, it is in another language, Spanish, I would assume, but it is English dubbed. I listened to the Spanish version as well. This sort of has this theme of like a murder mystery, which I think was very fun and entertaining for the first couple of seasons. And then they sort of kept doing that shtick over and over again, and I eventually burnt out. Like even when watching season 3, I was kind of like, yeah, this is probably going to be it for me, which is saying something because in season 4, Manu Rios, who's like one of the most attractive people alive, he's cast as one of the main characters, and I believe it was his photo on the Elite backdrop that made me click and watch it to begin with. Turns out he doesn't even enter the show until season 4. I believe the show goes on for several more seasons than I've watched, so I'm not going to speak to it as a whole. They are more or less standalone, and I believe that most of the characters from season 1, their storylines kind of end by season 3. Just a quick note, while editing, I was collecting photos for this video, and I see that my memory is wrong about this. There's plenty of characters who carry on throughout. Not only that, but my personal favorite character from the first 3 seasons, Nadia, she's apparently in the final season 8 of the show. So assuming that you liked it and kept watching it, I think there's plenty of show here for people. But I will say that I do think the cast changes quite a bit over the years. The reason it's on this list is I do think it is a highly entertaining and addicting show, and similar to Call Me by Your Name and Heated Rivalry, it's a very sexual show. Like there are quite a lot of sex scenes. They are hot. And so again, if that is a draw for you with Heated Rivalry, if you like the murder mystery genre sort of vibe, I think you might like really end up liking Elite. Think maybe for the type of person that reads something like Heated Rivalry, like the books, this might be more in line for you than some of the other suggestions that I've had. And so I wanted to keep it here on this list because even though it's my personal least favorite of all the different things that I mentioned, it is good. Like I enjoyed it. I watched 3 seasons of it. Like I was pretty hooked. So I think it'd be worth a shot if you sort of need a little bit more of a thriller vibe or a little bit more drama or spice in the TV that you watch. I just want to say thank you so much if you've made it to the end of this video. Those are the 6 suggestions that I have for now. I didn't want to make this list too long. I really wanted this to be like a starter kit. If you wanted my top 2, it's Young Royals and it is Pose. Like without question, I think those 2 are much watched TV shows. But I think everything on this list has merit and has something that obviously many people enjoy. It's a bit of a basic list, sure. I think it inherently sort of had to be, if that's fair. If you have any shows or movies that you would like to suggest to other people, please leave them down in the comments. Please leave them for me. A good friend of mine has been trying to convince me to watch the show Looking. It's on HBO and it follows like 30-something-year-olds. And I believe that some, if not all of them, are gay. So I've been really looking forward to giving that show a chance. But if you have anything that you think should be next on my list, please let me know. What I will say is I am working on one more Heated Rivalry video that I plan on coming out at some time in the next few weeks. And then the next big review that I'm going to do is on the show Young Royals. And I recently started rewatching it with my friend because she and I watched Heated Rivalry together. And I told her, I was like, I think you'll like this show. Would you watch an episode and just give it a shot? And we binged all of season 1 in like a couple of days. It really is that good. There's a ton of nuance to it, and I just want to really sink my teeth into it, into a long form video similar to what I did for Heated Rivalry. So if you want to watch those videos as they come up, please like this video, please subscribe, and you'll see when these other videos come up. And at the end of this video, I'll leave the title card up for my Heated Rivalry review. I really appreciate you making it to the end of this video. I'm still getting used to making this sort of content, but I tried to put more effort into this video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all next week.